Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Community. One of my favorite things ever is jamming out in person. I love to be in person, so I'm here in Waterloo today with a friend. And two, I love when I meet amazing Canadian women on the internet, right? Like you get connected and then you get the opportunity to connect, meet in person and like support each other and grow your businesses together. So I have Danielle here and I'm so excited, Danielle, to have you here because I know you are an expander for so many people. I can't wait for all the things you're going to share in this episode. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I wanted to say, as you were sharing, like to meet like-minded, high vibe, to be on brand women.
Yes, and we're so close to each other because you live in Stratford most of the time, right?
Most of the time.
And you said Collingwood otherwise, right? So it's like Collingwood's like my fave place ever. But so it's so amazing how close you can be and like still not know each other, know things that are going on. And we connected recently through our friend Anna, who was recently also on the podcast, and she's amazing, such a super connector. And then you came to Have Women, which is amazing. You have an event coming up and lots of good stuff. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you and how you help people, because I know it's immense.
So my story is, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So when my daughter was a year old, she's now 15, I was in a career in corporate and I worked for tourism and I loved my job. It was really fancy, like from the outside, but I had this real desire to become an entrepreneur and I had no idea how. And when my daughter was born, also tons shifted, which I'm sure a lot of the moms listening can understand. It's like my priorities changed. I didn't want to be in the office all the time. And I was introduced to network marketing thinking that was like my way to become an entrepreneur. And I assumed I'd go right to the top. I saw all the success stories. I'm like, okay, she can't be any smarter than I am. Like Yeah,
I love that perspective.
And I jumped in. I fell flat on my face and was not successful at all. And it started really impacting how I felt about myself. I was like, something's wrong with me. I'm not a good leader. What is it? So I dove in to personal development, just like they taught us. And I'm so grateful that network marketing has that personal development arm because it actually connected me to the books that I read as a teenager. And so then I was reminded the value of meditation, of reflection, and, all the good things that these books teach us. And I read them and could repeat them and nothing changed. And so So at that point, I did what any logical, smart woman would do who was programmed to believe that hard work equals success. And so I quit my 6-figure job and thought that if I only had more time to focus on my side hustle, surely I'd go right to the top and have those $10,000 magical months that everyone talked about. And nope. It didn't happen. So more time wasn't the answer. Harder work wasn't the answer. And then I had all this knowledge of leadership, but obviously it wasn't applied. And so I remember crying on my kitchen floor, like very close to probably losing our condo and begging for an answer when my mother called me and she said, "You're coming to Guelph, you're miserable, and I have a coach who is bringing in a speaker. And he's reading from that book you always read, Think and Grow Rich." I'm like, "Mom, I know the book. I don't need to come." And she's like, "You're coming." And she dragged me. And on stage was Bob Proctor. And I listened to him speak and I knew he knew what he was talking about. And he punched me in the gut, like from the stage. He said, "Your way's not working. Why not try mine? If your results are not what you want, you don't truly understand. You're just basically like regurgitating what's in the book and it's not applied." And he didn't say that but that's what that's what he meant. And in that moment, I knew I needed to do whatever he said. Like I needed to be coachable and follow his system. I didn't have the money. I was now $100,000 in debt from quitting my job. And the bills didn't go away magically. Yeah. Imagine that. And I borrowed 3 credit cards to invest in his program. Within 6 months, tripled my income, started winning awards. Clients and new team members in that network marketing company started attracting. I was like, what the heck? I'm like now a magnet. Yeah. And it felt easy. And I didn't work harder and probably I worked less.
Wow. Love that. What do you think it was that was the thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what it was. So before that, I had no idea that your inside world impacted your outside world. So for me, all results were because of physical things. So I do this and I get that.
Right.
was not paying attention to my attitude, the way that I perceived myself. I had no idea that that mattered. So really, I had a pretty crappy attitude and was expecting good results. And I hustled thinking that all I needed to do was take all this massive action, but not pay attention to how my body felt, what I was saying. And so I was like shitty to myself. I was really hard on myself, really negative. And it got worse as my results didn't change.
Right.
Yeah, so that was it.
Well, it's interesting because I think the mindset piece and the attitude piece is so fascinating because I think so many times we as entrepreneurs, it's like it is that, oh, I'm going to work harder. I'm just going to put in more hours. I need the night shift. Like I'm going to do more emails. And we actually had our biggest revenue year ever last year when I had my baby. And I literally I worked. Firstly, while I was pregnant, I was dead, so I didn't work for lots of that. But even that second time, I took a bunch of time off, and even now, I'm not fully 100% back. And so what's interesting, it's like I know a lot of that had to do with a lot of the building blocks that we had put in, but also like mindset.
Totally.
And it's easy to get down on yourself when you're an entrepreneur because it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But it's really about the up and the down.
Yeah, and I think like for you were in such if you think of it, your baby being born, you're in such a love vibration.
Yeah.
And you would have had to receive help from other people, which
totally.
is unlocks finances, unlocks more money coming to you with less work. So you were in an alignment with that. And it was like the perfect storm for you to be able to then lean back and receive.
What would you say to someone who feels like they're in alignment with what they're doing? They feel like they're putting in the work. They love what they're doing, but they're really just not seeing results on it.
Well, here's the thing. Your results always tell the truth. So if you are not receiving at the level that you believe you, let's just use the word deserve.
Yeah.
Based on the actions you're taking, then you may be taking all the actions, but you're out of alignment in your thoughts or your feelings.
Right.
And all three things must be congruent. And I see them as a line, in alignment with the outcome you desire. So let's say you're taking all the actions for 100 new clients, or let's say 100 new ticket sales to an event. And you're sending the emails, you're posting and doing all the things. Well, if the results aren't coming, then it's important that you look at the starting point because we think it's our actions that bring in the results, but it's not. It actually starts with your thoughts. So what am I thinking about my prospects?
Yes.
Do I believe that it's easy for people to buy, or do we believe that people aren't buying right now? And you got to be super honest with yourself. And then what's my feeling? Because I can consciously think, oh, yes, it's easy for people to buy or people are buying. I can consciously make that thought. But if it's not fully believed in my subconscious, meaning my feeling about it, you can't fake believe. So I might consciously say it, but if I don't actually believe it, I'm out of alignment then. But I might still be taking all the action. So it's like the thoughts congruent with the way I feel truly in my body and my subconscious mind has to be congruent with the outcome I want. And so then if your results always tell the truth, so then it's like, okay, how do we course correct here? Let's do some reflection. What are some of those negative thoughts or limiting ideas? They just kind of pop into your mind, don't they? They're like, you might be doing something and you're like, oh, well, this is a waste of time. It's like, bing, let's isolate that. Oh, I really believe that this is a waste of time. Or I really believe, because this is one I noticed for the event, is people buy last minute. Well, so it is. I'm always going to get what I believe.
Right.
So people are buying tickets right on time, according to my belief.
Yeah.
So all I need to do is change the belief. But it's like, I say it kind of joking, it's all I need to do. And it's all I need to do is hold the energy of it.
Interesting.
And what we tend to do, though, is go bananas with action. Go email more people. Oh, my gosh, I must do la, 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 la.
Yeah, totally.
Do this rather than go and change energy behind the action. Does that make sense?
No, totally.
Yeah.
I think especially when it comes to the way that business is built, something that I've noticed is that, obviously, I'm not going to say anything novel here, but it's the hustle culture is just so real, right? The way that, we see Alex Hormozi, we see all these people, they're doing the thing, they're working 24/7, it's just the way that we're like programmed, right?
Totally.
And I've been thinking about this a lot since becoming a mom, that I'm like, I just like personally can't. Like I just don't have enough time in the day anymore. But I used to be able to I'm like, no one can outwork me.
Yeah.
Like,
and you wore it as like a badge of honor, didn't you?
Totally.
Me too.
Yeah. Like I could work harder than anybody. And what I've really learned is that I don't actually want to build a business that's not joyful or just not fun. So if I feel like out of alignment on that, then I would actually rather make less money and do something that I'm like much more passionate about or excited about. And I notice that the money does come, especially when I'm in that belief. And one of the things that I have struggled with, and because you guys listening, like I'm woo-woo adjacent. Danielle and I were laughing about this on the way in because Danielle came to High Five Open and I said that. But I'm like, I would say the mindset work doesn't come as naturally to me as I think it does other people, right? Because I'm so practical that I'm kind of like, where are the results? Like, show me the results. But for me, we were talking about this earlier, that I also worked with a Bob Proctor coach at the beginning of my business career, and did thinking of results. And a big piece of what became a reality for me was doing that program. But why I bring that up is because it was just so interesting how focusing on my mindset, which is something that's so foreign to me, has been such an anchor for my success over the years. Yeah. Where for me, similarly to you, like we had down periods. We always have down periods in business, right?
And relativity.
It's like always. And every time it would happen at the beginning, I'd be like, well, this is it. Like, it's done. It's finished. It's done, guys. Like, we had a good run. And all the stats would tell me otherwise. But I'd be like, no, we lost a few clients this month, and no one's buying tickets, and this has happened, and so rapper, and let's call it a day. And then like one time, this was like last February, we had like a really low month. It was like uncharacteristic, and I knew it was kind of coming. And it was the story I was telling myself. It was like the economy, there's an election, people spend differently. I know these things to be true, but also I was like allowing it to be such a reality, and it was like a clockwork.
Yeah.
Like it was like I would look at my phone, an email of a client canceling, someone so uncharacteristic, someone going out of business, like just all these things happening, right? And what was amazing was, I think because of that anchored work, I was able to maintain a lot of perspective rather than,
freaking
out, cut out investments. Like, let's look at all of our subscription and let's cut this off, or like, let's lay a team off.
Logical.
Yes. I was able to be like, okay, I'm going to hold the energy of the fact that like this too always passes. Right.
Yeah.
And like being able to lean into that has been really helpful. And, but I don't think entrepreneurs, like, you need to be tenacious and you need to be down for the whole ride in order to see the success. And I don't think people always are.
Yeah, agreed. And there's an understanding. So you had a base understanding of a law and of rhythm. So like the wave or the tide comes in and must go out. So what goes up must come down. And it's just a rhythm. And so then you knew enough in your awareness because of the education and the mentorship received, and then compounded with experience, that this time too shall pass. Yeah. And so it was about how you responded to that period dictated what came next. So what's interesting, if you look at the way that you reacted, I'm going to say respond consciously. If you look, maybe in the beginning you were like telling yourself, oh, the economy, la, 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 and then you always get what you receive. So the universe was literally like, okay, Kristina, fair enough, cancel. Yeah. Cancel. How long do you want to believe it? And then at one point, you kind of settled in and let go and released, and was like, okay, this is going to pass. It is what it is. Yeah. And then from there, that you let go of the resistance, and so then it passed. Yeah, totally. And I think when you're in the belief that there's always more possible, totally, then it always more is possible, you know? And like even for me and my non-woo self, like there's seasons where I'm like, it's actually impossible we're doing as well as we are. Like based on logic, numbers. Like experts, what the experts would say. Yeah. Even the way we scaled our business. But I think like when I really lean into that, it's amazing. Like I don't ever lean into the like, nobody else to sell to. You know, and I think a lot of people do. So what would you say to someone who's, I think sales is such a tough thing for women, especially now. Like I'm listening to people who, or I'm talking to people who mostly are women on the pod. What would you say to women who like really struggle with that as part of their business life, is like the sales aspect of it? Maybe they're feeling down on their business. Maybe they're feeling like their business isn't growing as fast as they wanted to. They see those leaders and they're not part of that like upper group yet. What would you recommend for them? Yeah, first of all, I think addressing what you said earlier is like this entrepreneurship game maybe isn't for everyone. Like, and to understand that it is important for you to grow like thick skin, let's say, and a willingness to persist. And the only way that you quit the only way you fail is if you quit. Yeah. Is to really understand that. And are you willing? Like, are you willing to keep going? Because those of us that succeed just don't quit. Let's be honest. And so then this idea of sales, being a salesperson, I believe that we're all salespeople. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what profession you are in. A teacher is a salesperson. They sell to their students why learning math is important. I sell to my daughter every single day on what to eat for dinner. I enroll her in the family vacations. Like, I'm constantly selling. And so if you can just start there and like wrap your head around, wait a minute. Yeah. It's actually natural. And I believe that the only way you can help a person is to sell them. You sold me on this podcast. Yep. And so because it's a win-win. It's a win for me and a win for you. And I think where people have a problem, or the perception of salespeople where it gets a bad rap, is that sleazy salesperson or the masculine selling where there's pressure and it doesn't feel good for either person. It might feel good for the sleazy salesperson, but like, when I confront someone that's coming off like really strong, I'm like, do you want to be talking to me like that? They're like, no, it's just how I was trained. I'm like, okay, so let's let go of that. Like, we don't need to use any of those tactics. Yeah. And instead, there's a new way. There's a different way of selling. And that way of selling is to help a person see what's possible and build a vision of why it's a win-win, and then let it go. If the person enrolls in that vision, then they're naturally going to say yes. You don't need to force. You don't need to manipulate. And so it's actually a really feeling good conversation. When you and I first connected, that conversation had me buzzing for days because you and I were talking about all the things we could do to collaborate, all the like-mindedness. It was a sales conversation on both our ends, but it didn't feel like that. Yes. Because we were so lit up by our own purpose and what this collaboration could do for us individually and then the world in which we serve.
Yeah, I love that. I love that perspective because I feel the same way. It's like it can be easy. And like if I feel like sales, like especially early on, I'll say, Danielle, like I think people may be listening to this and they feel like it's their job to convince. Yeah. I get people on a call and I need to convince them to do social media.
And that doesn't feel good.
No. And then honestly, guys, I'm just going to be honest, those are the worst clients.
Totally. I was just going to say,
they're the worst clients.
Anyone that takes a long time to say yes, it's going to take just as much energy to keep them because you're going to constantly have to convince them.
100%. That's why I don't actually do a ton of follow-ups. Yeah. Like that's a rule of mine in business. It's always been like that where I'll follow up once or twice because sometimes people just like need that reminder and I think that's like it's loving. But everything after that, I'm like, oh, I'm not messaging you 6 months from now being like, how are you still thinking about this? Because maybe it would depend on what the offer is. But if you don't want to post on your social media, I'm not going to make you, right? Yeah. And so I want to lovingly invite people in, but I don't also want to be like gripping them. And I think it's hard sometimes to see the difference of that grip, right, at the beginning because it feels like all money is good money. And we both know that to be not true, right? Where it's like not all clients are great clients. Not all opportunities for money are the right ones. So it's just interesting. One of the things I love that you've been chatting a little bit about is this idea of enrollment. Like you've used that word a few times. Can you go into more detail what you mean by that?
Yeah, it's actually, I don't know if you ever studied with Landmark, but it's a Landmark term.
Everyone I know who's done Landmark is like effed up by it. Did you did Landmark?
Oh gosh, and I did. I mean, hey, I did it for 3 years, and I actually went through the trainer's training program for a year, which was like intense as AF. Like it was so crazy. Probably one of the worst years of my life
because of the training.
Well, it's intense.
Oh wow!
And it is. I would not be the person, the leader, without it. Yes, it caused so much pain. It was so confronting. Wow. Because of how I had to like look at myself in the mirror and how out of integrity I was in many areas of my life. I owed people money. I was behind on taxes, like things that just aren't workable. Yeah. And I had to clean up a lot of relationships. And Landmark did that. And so it was like really Like it's like looking at all your scars in the mirror and digging up all the areas of your life where you've been not so nice.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm forever grateful. Would I do it again? Yes. And this is where the enrollment comes from, because enrollment, this idea of enrollment, like, is that we each are here for a purpose. And I'm paraphrasing, this is not landmark terms now, but it's like where I first got it. So we each come to this world with a purpose, and that our purpose is individual to us, although there might be like-minded purposes out there. Like you and I collaborate and are in harmony, obviously, with what we believe in the world. So I just might be a little more woo than you.
Yeah. A little. A little. She came with the goods, guys. She gave me a very woo kind gift, which I can't wait to use. And then also came with her own sprays and sprayed the studio down. She's like, "Can I do this?"
Clearing the energy and setting intentions. And I was like, and more. I can't wait to talk to you more about this, but like more doing it just to like help you have a response. But anyway, so with Landmark, the idea is that we are each here with a purpose, and there's no great accomplishments done alone. So the idea is that I'm going to be careful with my language. You need others, but we don't really need needs lack, but our purpose goes further when we have others to support us.
Yeah.
And how you bring others in, it's not force. That's like the old paradigm where it's dictatorship and it's very masculine. I tell you, and this is the way it goes, and this way or the highway.
Yes.
But the new leadership is actually done through enrollment. And this enrollment is through very effective communication, where the person who has the vision must clearly see the vision in their own mind and paint the picture. Without a vision, we will perish. So they must have a very clear vision for themselves. And when they have that picture, they allow themselves to get emotionally involved with it. So my purpose, my vision for my life and the world moves me first. And then from there, I act in harmony with that picture. Right. Or in congruence with that, or in alignment with that picture. And then I go out in the world and practice, it is a practice, communicating effectively to share my vision with you with words, gestures, writing, emotion. So it's first happens through the intellect, and then we go into the subconscious mind, which is the emotional mind, and I enroll you and once you get emotional about my vision, then we are congruent, and then together we can take like-minded action. And that enrollment now, it's now your choice. Like you can't help but help me, but because it's helping you and you can see the benefit, but there's no force there. And so we use that in the sales process to get to have other people support us through like being a speaker on the stage, and sponsorship is enrollment, like all of those things.
Love that.
And it feels good. It's a win-win for everyone. And it is a skill. Yeah. Because we're not forcing and we're not convincing. So then how do we do that? Is that your next question?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So it's like get into the mind. So I want to be, so now I have my vision for Danielle, and I can see how that's changing the world. And how I want to now enroll you is to get into your perception. And I don't know what that is unless I ask really good questions and become very interested in Kristina. So when you and I talked, both of us did this very well. We were asking questions of each other.
Yeah. Totally.
I can't assume that I know your purpose. I can't assume to know what makes you tick, what's important to you. Now, this is the mistake most people make, isn't it? They assume and they start telling. Why it's a benefit instead of asking. And so I ask you and I listen, and all my energy's on you. Right. And now I get emotionally involved with your purpose.
Totally.
And then I see how that fits into what I'm up to and how we can collaborate. And it's an authentic connection because I've listened, and then I reflect back to you what I see for us based on what I know. And then you're going to do the same for your purpose. And when both parties are doing that, it's just like a match made in heaven because it's just so easy to collaborate.
Yeah, I know. I love that. Well, that reminds me, I think about this all the time about relationships, like in business, it's like the whole idea of being like much more interested than being interesting, right?
Totally.
Where it's like, I even did a call today and it was fine. And this person, it was like an intro. And that person just really wanted to speak at my event. It was very obvious. I was like 3 minutes in, and I'm like, oh, you actually do not care about me. Like, this is about how I could benefit you. And I actually ended the call early.
And how does that feel?
Oh, shitty.
Yeah, totally.
And even if it's like...
And if you asked that person, they felt shitty getting off it.
You think?
Yeah.
Do you feel... I wonder, though, because I think there's people who... They believe that pitching themselves that way is the appropriate way of doing it. And maybe I think it's taught. Like, I think it's like taught culturally, like that, it's like that societal, like, get it, like, get after it. But it's like, there's a huge lack of finesse, I think, in the way that people sell.
And I think what's ultimately lacking, which is why I don't think they feel good when they end, is that there's absolutely no connection.
Yeah.
Like you would have just shut down, went, thank you very much, and got off the phone, and they don't feel fulfilled. But compared to when you have a conversation where it's mutually beneficial, you feel lit up. And that's what I mean. When you and I had that conversation, I was lit up for days with possibility.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that you and I think are like-minded on, and I think similarly in a lot of ways about it, is this relationship aspect, is that it's not always about what you're going to get in the moment.
Yeah.
Like you were kind of like, oh, I'm thinking about writing an event, and I'm like in the early stages, and I was like, yeah, like this is what you should do, and like actually here's my photographer that I use, and here's how I do this, and like let me see how that could benefit you. And then you came to my event and you poured in a ton there, and we're able to like support each other. And I think one of the things that I see a lot, and I don't know if you see this a lot with the business you do, but like people are so transactional when there's so much opportunity for transformation.
Yeah.
Where it's like actually like if you in that first call, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like, this is how this could go or whatever. And it wasn't as open. We probably wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Totally.
But I think that like when we're open to possibility and a lot of opportunity, there's just so much potential that we can't even see yet.
Yeah. And I think it's resisting that like immediate feedback. Like it has to be this in order for it to be beneficial. And so the mindset could be, the invitation is to, what can I give? It's like, there's a great book, Go Giver, and there's lots of giving books, but it's like, if you go in with a mindset of how can I contribute, how can I help, and understand that the like it comes back to you tenfold, but it may not come back from the person you're sitting in front of.
It's a great perspective.
And never give to get. So don't trade. So it's like, I give Kristina an idea for her event, then that means that I'm going to get, this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, let's sit here with an open mind, both being in our purpose, power meeting power, and have a conversation and authentically listen for like, and you're like, oh, I know this photographer. And like, and you just saved me 10 steps of having, or like literally probably 10 hours of researching photographers.
Yeah.
That ability to collaborate in that way and not gatekeep is going to come back to you. Maybe not from me.
Yeah.
It could, but it might not. It's going to come back, from the infinite supply of the universe.
Yeah.
And because of the energy in which you gave that information.
No, I totally agree. It's actually interesting. I recently became friends with someone, and I'm usually the person in calls, I feel, where someone tells me a problem, and I'm like, all right, like, let me make some introductions for you. Like, let me make this happen for you. And then people always be like, what do you need? And I'm like, it'll come. Like, one day it'll come. Like, I'm not worried about it today. And one of the things I'm really learning a lot about is PR right now, like, because I'm like, how do people get on the news? I'm just so curious. Yeah. So I have this new friend who's super into PR, and she's amazing. And her and I connected. And I messaged her, and I was like, I'm feeling like an abusive little nugget, like asking you all these questions. Like, how can I add value to you? And she was kind of like, no, it'll come. Then a few days later, I ended up making an intro for her because she was looking for a sponsor. I was like, I actually know someone who's like looking to sponsor something like this. Let me connect it. She got huge ROI from that. And it all worked out. Everything works out the way it's meant to. But it was one of those things where in the moment I was like, oh my God, I need to add value. And I was like, but I know the value will come. Like, I know I'm going to find a moment that's going to be perfect for her. And it might not even be for me, right? And it's karma.
And maybe the biggest lesson was for you to actually receive without giving.
It's so hard. It's so hard. And even I think too, and like ladies, people who are listening, like one of the things that's so interesting is that I'm like the first to pitch people when people are like, oh, what do you need? And I'm always like, make sure you have an ask. Like even just something, hey, like I would love connections for my podcast. I'd love this or whatever. And I'm the first person to be like, nothing, you know? Like it's just so hard for us to receive in that way. What would you say to women who are struggling with that?
Yeah, I would say that receiving and giving are the same. And when you aren't able to receive, like think of how much joy, Kristina, you get from giving. So you're like robbing the other person, feeling what you love to feel.
Yes, totally.
And think about when you give a gift. So now let's say, do you have a sister?
No, I'm an only child. Isn't that nuts?
You are. So is my daughter. Yeah. Okay, so let's say your best friend.
Yeah.
And you spent the time to think about the most perfect birthday gift.
Yeah.
And you had to go somewhere special, then you got especially wrapped. Like it was a thing to get the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you go to your best friend and you give her the gift and she like opens it and was like, and walks away. How would that feel?
Yeah, crappy.
Okay. What if she opens it and she's like, thank you. This is really beautiful.
Yeah.
And then what if she's like, oh my gosh, Kristina, how did you know?
Oh.
I've been wanting this forever and it's something I never would have bought for myself. Like you've gone out of your way. Thank you.
Yes.
So you get to decide what kind of receiver you are and notice how it impacts the giver. And so take that in the next time when you're asked, what can I do to support you?
Yeah.
Be the best version of the receiver that you love when you're giving a gift to your best friend.
Yes.
They're the same thing. Just opposite ends of the same stick.
Yeah, I love that.
If you will.
It's a great perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, Danielle, I've loved chatting with you. I have one last question for you because I could talk to you all day. And we're going to record for your podcast show, which I'm so excited about. But I'm curious, like with all the mindset work that you do and you do with all of your amazing clients, and I know so many people credit you for their success and being a part of that. What do you think is the biggest thing that's stopping people right now from being at the highest level version of themselves?
Yeah, right away, I want to say fear, listening to any outside circumstance. So if you listen carefully to the average person and say, why are you not where you want to be?
Yeah. If
they give any reason that's outside of them, that is the problem. The economy. Anything. My website's not good enough. My marketing.
Yes.
Anything that's outside of them is not the real reason. Now, that was really hard for me to hear the first time I heard it because I was like, yeah, but if I only had a husband who believed in me. Yeah, but if I only had clients that would buy from me.
Right.
And I had to look inside and make the shifts. Your outside reality is a reflection of what's going on inside. So stop.
Yes.
Take radical responsibility.
Love that.
And make the shifts within, and your whole world will start to shift around you to match the new internal state that you're holding.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, love that. That's great perspective. Hey guys, I am so grateful to have Danielle here. This was such a good mindset. This isn't the most woo-woo podcast I've had, believe it or not. Yeah.
Come on, we need to put something in there then. What can we do?
A 2.0, I'll have you back. I'll have you back. There was one actually, I was like, I don't know if I can air this in good conscience. It's not alignment. But yeah, I'd love for you to tell people where they can find you, where they can listen to you, and you have an amazing podcast as well, because I know people are going to be running into your world.
Thank you. So the best place is Instagram. I love playing over there. We have lots of bots in there, but you'll know that they're bots and they'll add value as soon as you come follow and interact. And then it's always me that comes in and you'll be able to ask me questions or ask me to riff. And so if this resonates, please come find me at the Danielle Amos and let's have some fun.
Yay, I love it. Well, we'll link all that in the show notes. Hopefully people don't get too far into your bots. The bots are hard. My friend Lori, I'm always in her bots. I'm like, no, I sent you a meme. But no, guys, go give Danielle a follow. Go give her a podcast to listen as well. And we'll link all that in the show notes. But such good perspective and some mindset shifts. I'd love to hear what resonated with you guys today. Hope you have an amazing day.